In this video, I've got a PCB and I'm going to be soldering an IC socket and these two diodes on the PCB. Now on the PCB, it tells you where everything goes because it gives you the shapes of all these parts. The IC socket goes right here. Now if you notice, on the top of the socket you see a little U-type notch. Alright? And if you can see on the top of the IC socket I have, there's also a little U-type shaped notch. Now that notch gives you the orientation of the part as far as the PCB goes. I've got the notch on the PCB right here and the notch on the IC socket right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's right on the top of it. So I align the notch of the socket with the notch on the PCB. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to secure the socket in place. I'm going to hold it down with one finger like this. Alright? Then I'm going to go to the back. I'm going to bend in two of the pins on opposite ends of the socket. This one. Then I'm going to bend another pin right here. Now what that does is that holds the socket in place, and I'll kind of just inspect the socket to make sure it's straight. And I think that's about as straight as I'm going to get it. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some of this flux. I'm going to take a little bit of this flux and I'm going to put it over the joint. Now I'm going to turn my soldering iron on. Now the light's green, and when the light begins to flash, that means that the soldering iron is now up to temperature, and I've got the iron set at 700 degrees. Now I'm going to clean my iron off a little bit. All right, now I'm going to put a little bit of solder on the tip of the iron. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to solder a couple of these pins in place. I think I'll just go ahead and do all of them, and then I unbend the two pins that I bent. Okay, now as you can see, I've got the socket in place. Now I'm going to solder the two LEDs in place. The LEDs go right here and here. The flat side is where the cathode goes. You see a flat side here and a flat side here. The short lead on the LED is the cathode. Now I'm going to put an alligator clip on here to help hold the diode in place while I solder it. Now I'm going to apply a little bit of flux. I'm going to apply just a little bit of solder to the tip of the soldering iron, right next to the joint. Now I'm going to test the blue LED.